I decided I should talk about this a little bit, okay? Up here on YouTube, since Google's taken over, we all know Google, the corporation Google, is owned and controlled and run by the powers to be. The same people that a lot of us that are waking up are speaking up against. The same people that's behind the wars that are going on globally. The same people that are behind the enslavement institution that we live in. The same people that are responsible for millions of people's deaths globally. The same people that's getting ready to crash your currency, that are running your currency, that own your currency globally, that are controlling your so-called governments, who in return are controlling you for them. But here up on YouTube, as of lately, things have become very much more clear for me to what I'm seeing going on. Okay? We have people on YouTube. There's lots of people on YouTube all over the world, right? But we have a percentage of you people on YouTube that Google, the powers to be, have placed here. And I'm not talking about people that are behind the scenes neither. I'm talking about people that do videos like I do, that we trust. And we have a percentage of them that will bring you a lot of good information, because they have to get you to trust them, just like Alex Jones did. Meanwhile, they're collecting pay for being here, and they're actually working with the powers to be. They're not here for you, they're here for their own selfish interests, because they're getting money to do what they're doing. But some of the ways that we might be able to identify some of these people is, let me give you an example. How many of you people have a career that are on YouTube? And in that career, maybe you had some schooling. You went to school to learn the career, to learn the trade that you're in. And with that trade and years of working in that career, you've gained lots of knowledge about that career. Like I give you an example. An electrician went to school and worked hard to get where they're at. And they've been an electrician now for 20, 30 years, what have you, however many years. Being in the field, they learned more and more and more. Now if they were to teach somebody about it, come up on video and want to show people about their career, they would be very knowledgeable in what they talk about. They would be very schooled in it, wouldn't they? That's right. This is one of the ways that we could identify plans up on YouTube. You know, let's think about it for a moment. You got people up here on YouTube that seem to know a lot about different topics. You got a lot of people that are skeptics like myself who do research on their own, does not know school teacher, but has life experience behind them and uses common sense and their life experience, okay, to base their opinions on things they've experienced themselves. But an example of what I'm trying to point out to you would be, see, the powers to be put people here on YouTube, and some of these people might speak a religion. They might claim to be a Protestant, a Catholic, a Christian, whatever, Jehovah. And they might claim to be that, and they might be claimed to be in a position in a church or whatever. Some of these other people might just claim to be working a normal average job. And some of these people that are saying this maybe are. But I guess my point is this. Let's look at an example of a couple of topics that I can point out for you. People that seem to know an awful lot about HAARP, weather modification, who are schooled in it. And you can tell they're schooled in it by the way they speak, by the knowledge they possess when they're doing their videos. the presentation they would give you is like that of somebody that was an electrician for years. Okay? The average Joe that just learned about HAARP a few years ago and looked at all the literature online on it wouldn't necessarily be able to just come right out and do a very professional presentation in the video on it. Why? Because that's not what they do for a living every day. This is just something they've researched and studied, they know is true. So they're not going to know all the terminology to use, the wording to use, and how to present a professional presentation in that. Though, however, if they were to present their career in a presentation, they could do a much better job of the presentation to show you how to do this job, or what this job's about, what it contains. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to tell you. When I said HAARP, let's take an example of somebody that knows all about HAARP, okay? And they know it really well, inside and out. And they know the weather system, inside and out, radars. They know how to read the radar. The weatherman shows you on TV. And they can point out all the little things that the radar's showing. Think about this. How many people that work the average Joe job, electricians, carpenters, plumbers, manufacturers, mill workers, whatever, cops, that's right. How many of you people in your careers are able to do that? Now, if you went to school to become a meteorologist and you became a weatherman, and you've been doing that for years, you'd be able to do that, wouldn't you? Because you went and trained in that field. And this is what you do for a living. Do you follow what I'm saying? So sometimes Joe comes along and starts giving forecasts and understands the radar really well. And understands HAARP totally and understands the radars and how it works and blah, blah, blah. That might suggest a few red flags for you. Especially if the wording and their presentation is really well. And the more you study it, the more you realize everything they know is true. And the more you read up on it, the more you see it's true. Not only do you see it's true, but you see that they're so well knowledged in it. I mean, they are really knowledged in it. This should throw up a red flag for you that this person, what do they do for a living? Now, if they're a meteorologist in real life and they're doing video on YouTube, that'd be okay. That'd be acceptable. But if their presentation's all about HAARP and they're meteorologists, they could probably do a presentation on HAARP, right? And if they study it, maybe they could even cross it. But they'd have to do a lot of studying, wouldn't they? Let's look at something else. What about somebody that seems to know all about outer space and the planets and the satellites and the weapons of the United States, the weapons systems dealing with the satellites, and HAARP? Since HAARP is on the Department of Defense's website, listed as a weapon, because it is. What about a person like that, who is very professionally spoken, and that has lots of knowledge? You might want to pay attention to what I'm telling you. If I'm over your head with what I'm telling you, I'm trying to figure out a way of explaining this to you. If you've never been an electrician in your life, wiring a house, wiring a business, doing three-phase wiring, or doing the average 220, 110. Maybe you do three-phase. Maybe even do 4 or 6-phase wiring on something. And you've done this for a living for years. You could get up here on YouTube and you could present a good presentation. You'd have all the knowledge. Because somebody that hasn't done this come up and give a presentation, they could look up the stuff, the information. They could learn it. but they really wouldn't be able to give a presentation. They might be able to show you stuff that they've done. Like I could show you lots of things I've done and give you a presentation in that manner. But we need to pay attention, and I mean close attention to who's speaking to us up on YouTube. Pay attention to their wording. Pay attention to their knowledge level in a particular area. I'm telling you this for a good reason. And before you go calling anybody out, you might want to find out what they do for a living. Get to know them a little bit, fill them out, see what they tell you they do for a living. If their living doesn't match the skill they have, it's a good chance they're a plant. See, I've discovered this recently, and I've known it for a while, but this is another way that we can identify possible agents, possible plants up on YouTube that's got your attention. That's got your attention, and that you really trust. And remember this, the powers to be don't care if they use religion. If it sells, if they can sell you the story, they're a pastor, they're a preacher, they're a minister, they're a reverend, or whatever. If they can sell that story to you and not be, think about it. We might have somebody calling themselves a person of God that might be a pastor, or reverend, or preacher, or whatever, right? Maybe it'll be some guy. Maybe it'll be some woman. Who knows, right? And maybe in reality they work for NASA. Maybe you get somebody that's CIA that's up here, like Anderson Cooper on CNN. Who, if you do a background history on him, you find out he's ex-CIA. Is he really ex-CIA? Or is he still CIA? See? Do you follow what I'm saying? Pay attention close to people's knowledge level. If it's a normal researcher like myself or you or other people that are speaking out, we'll have lots of knowledge in different areas from research. But we won't be specifically skilled in one particular area. Somebody who's specifically skilled in one particular area mainly, and this is what their videos are about, it's one particular area, and they have a lot of knowledge of it, like that of outer space, the planets, and HAARP, and chemtrails, and do I need to go on? And our satellites and the weapons within our satellites. And they're very knowledgeable, and they know how to read the radars really well, our weather radars. And they know all about the weather, our environment, outer space. And I mean, they're very well presented, professionally done. These are people that should probably throw up red flags, because the average Tom and Joe that even does the research won't be able to give that kind of a presentation if you follow what I'm telling you. However, the ones that give that kind of presentation, then you might want to step back and think about what I've told you. If you have a career that you've done for a long time, you're very knowledgeable in that career. This is what you do every day for a living, versus somebody that don't. Think about what I'm telling you and place the pieces together. And open your eyes close at the people on YouTube. Because we have plans. Probably some CIA, probably some from NASA. Some who are actually working for the powers to be. They ain't here for a good reason, but they're not about to tell you that. Because they're making their living fooling you and me.